What is up, Mod Squad? We are out here today checking out Innova's newest plastic, the Duo. This disc was originally released as a commemorative disc for Scoggins for winning both the FPO and FP40 World Championships this year. It came out labeled as a test prototype plastic, but since then they've now come up with a name for it, which is called the Duo Plastic. Comes in a couple of different molds right now. You've got the Leopard 3 like this one here we're checking out today. Comes out in the Destroyer, and recently they just released it with the new Innova Fox. So today we're solely focused on how this new plastic flies. I want to know what it feels like, I want to know what it does to the dome. We're going to do that by comparing this brand new Leopard 3 in the Duo Plastic against a brand new Star Plastic and against a new Halo Star Plastic. Now to start us off, I want to show you my favorite Leopard 3, which is the one that's in my bag. It's a seasoned Star one. This is how I kind of envision how a Leopard 3 should fly. So, start us off here. What I'm looking for is something that can start out on a hyzer, flip up, and then turn. Kind of a late turn disc. Pretty much just like that. Now, to me, that's the perfect Leopard 3 flight. Hyzer out, flips up, then starts fading, and you can push these things out as far as you want to, out as far as, 400 feet. I've yet to throw one of these, so you're about to see the very first throw with the Duo Plastic. Let's see how it flies. I think it's gonna be more stable. I'm gonna try and just throw this nice and flat, see what it does. Okay, it's got just a bit of turn, subtle fade, but man, that thing looks cool flying in the air because of that two-tone plastic. Let's compare that flight to a Halo Star Leopard 3. This is another Scoggins Tour Series 1. Awesome disc. I always find that these are a little bit more stable right out of the box, or I should say a little bit more overstable right out of the box. Same thing, I'm gonna throw this nice and flat, see what it does. Oh, I slipped and turned that one right over. Okay. Won't be counting that. Now let's compare it to a brand new Star. Again, these things like to start out pretty stable. See what this one does, just throw it nice and flat. Very similar, but it definitely showed a bit more turn there. I'm gonna go grab those discs and we're gonna do this test again, but coming from the other way so we get a different wind read. I go grab those discs. I have to shout out the Mod Squad. The community is absolutely popping off right now. We're at over 1,600 subs on YouTube, which is just blowing my mind. You guys seem to be loving these weekly videos that I've been doing, so I'm gonna try and keep it up as much as possible. But if you haven't noticed, the fall colors are in the background here, which means snow's on its way. Now, in the past, it's really difficult to get out and do content in the snow, but I think hopefully we still have a couple months till that happens. So I'm gonna film as much as I can so that I can put out these weekly videos. So if you're new here, welcome. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that like button if you're liking this content. And if you've been around for a while, well, it's good to see you. And thanks for tuning in. Let's go grab these discs and we'll throw them back the other way. So what exactly is Innova's Duo Plastic? The Duo Plastic is, well, it looks exactly like it would be two different types of plastic molded into the same disc. According to Innova, the Duo is a molding process where they take metal flake plastic, Star plastic, and mix it basically in half and half. Now, as you reach around the disc, you can't tell where the Star ends and where the metal flake ends, but you can definitely see it. Honestly, the plastic on both sides feels pretty much the same. I'm not noticing any sort of like grip differences. And the discs come out in what I would say pretty typical dome profile for a Leopard 3. I can compare it to some of the other ones that I have here as well too, just so that you can see what the difference is. On that very first throw with it, and yes, this is my first time throwing this plastic, it seems to fly almost exactly like a brand new Champion disc, where it has just a touch more stability, but only slightly. Let's throw this disc with a bit of tailwind and see if there's any differences in the flight compared to some of these other new Leopard 3s. Again, we're just gonna try and throw this flat, see what it does in this tailwind. Pretty much just dead straight, tiny bit of fade at the end. Tailwind helping keep that stability up. For reference, this is that seasoned Star Leopard 3 that's in my bag. It's about 2 seasons old now. I'm gonna hyzer flip this one in this tailwind just so you can see the difference between the two plastics. Hyzer flip, turn, just comes back at the very end. Love that disc. Okay, now let's check out the Halo Star version in this tailwind. Again, I'm gonna throw it flat. pretty much dead straight with just a little bit of fade at the end, very similar to that Duo Plastic. And last but not least, we've got a brand new Star Leopard 3. Same thing, throw it flat so we can compare these different flights. Little bit of flip, wanted to hold that turn, the tailwind kind of kept it going straight, then fading at the end of its flight. All right, let's go check out those discs. So what I'm finding with the first couple of test throws with this new Duo Plastic is that it flies very similarly to the Halo Star versions. When they're both brand new, there's a little bit of added stability. I found with the brand new Star Leopard 3, it wanted to drift just a tiny bit more than what I'm seeing out of this Duo Plastic. It feels incredible. It feels a lot like Star, but a little bit more flexible, and I'm not sure why that is, but it's super grippy, but it's not gonna stick to your fingers like R Pro or XT. I think because it has that metal flake plastic in there, I think it'll hold up its stability a little bit longer than what you might find in something like a Star Plastic as well. Again, I don't feel any difference between the two colors or the two plastic types, but let me know in the comments if you've tried one of these and you can feel that difference. What I will say though is that this Duo Plastic looks incredible in the air. As the disc spins, the alternating color just has this really cool effect that I think looks incredible. I should be getting my hands on some destroyers and maybe even an Innova Fox with this new plastic type, so I'll be able to compare those two in a later video. Let me know in the comments below if you want to see it. Now, since I already have a tried and true Leopard 3 in my bag, I'll tell you what, if this video gets over 200 likes, I'll give this disc away. So make sure you hit that like button and share the love. Share the video with your friends so that they get in on it too. What I'd love to see is how this disc can handle some different throwing angles. So let's try this on some anhyzers and some hyzers and see how it reacts. Okay, first up, we're gonna throw this on a big hyzer, see how it goes. See if we can get to that basket. It's pretty far, probably out of reach, but man, that thing looks cool. Okay, so it wanted to flip up a bit there, but it held that hyzer pretty much the entire way through its flight. Seems like it might be a little bit more stable than, let's say, a Star one. I'll throw this one on a hyzer too, just so you can see the difference. This is a brand new Star Leopard 3. Just a little bit more drifty, for sure. So that Duo one wants to hold that hyzer angle a little bit more aggressively than that Star one, but only by a tiny amount. I'll go grab those and we'll try them on some anhyzers. Now, before I throw this on an anhyzer, I wanted to show you kind of a dome comparison between this and a Star Plastic. They're very, very, very similar. I find them to be a little bit flatter than what you'd find in a Halo Star, but only by a smidge. These discs all seem to be very, very similar. The main difference being that it flies more like a Halo Star than it does a Star, but only by a smidge. And like I said, I think that this disc will season in a little bit slower than Star disc because of that metal flake component. Throw this on an anhyzer and see how it handles that angle. Wow. Beautiful flight, holds that anhyzer well, and then just fights out kind of at the end. Pretty much exactly what you'd think would happen with the Leopard 3. Let's compare that. We'll try and throw that on the exact same angle with a brand new Star one. Again, I think it's gonna hold that anhyzer a little bit longer, just based off of the earlier throws that I've had with it. Okay, very similar. Very, very, very similar. Again, I think I was expecting this disc to be a lot more overstable, but after comparing it to the Halo Star, they're almost identical. There's only a slight little difference between the Duo Plastic and that Halo Star Plastic. So that pretty much wraps up this review. What I found is that this disc is just slightly more stable than the Star versions, but it flies very similarly to the Halo Star versions. Besides this being one of the most beautiful stock manufactured discs I've ever seen, the flight characteristics are very similar to a Halo Star version of this disc, with maybe a touch more stability, and like I said, I think there's going to be some added durability thanks to that metal flake plastic. Compared to a Star version of the same disc, they fly almost the same, just a touch more stability in this Duo Plastic. So where do I think that this would fit in somebody's bag? If you're looking for a stable fairway driver, so something that is going to go almost dead straight, this might be the perfect disc that you're looking for. Eventually it'll season in, and I bet you it'll be a beautiful turnover disc, but it'll still have a little bit of a bite at the end of it, so it's not just a turnover machine that's not reliable. Remember that if this video gets to 200 likes, that I'll be giving away this disc, so smash that like button for me. Hope you enjoyed this review, and if you want to see a couple more reviews of the discs that are made in this Duo Plastic, let me know in the comments below. I'll catch you in the next one, and as always, Get out and throw.